folks, welcome to this new video where we start painting a Genestealer Cult Abberant. So I hope you enjoy this set of videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to press the bell button next to it if you don't want to miss any of my uploads. But with that being said, let's just get cracking straight on into having a look at what we're going to be doing, shall we? And the scheme we're going to go for is something that looks a little bit like this. Nice and simple tabletop standard. I think that's got some nice detail going on in there, but it's not going to drive you nuts. So what we're going to use, so in this first video we are going to be priming it with a Vallejo grey primer. We will be base coating with Citadel Bugman's Glow. We'll be washing with a mix of Lamia Medium and Drybrush Violet from Citadel. A Drybrush with Eldar Flesh. And base coating some of the material in the Fang. And come the end of the video, this is what we will have. Alright, so without further ado, let's get straight on into it, shall we? Okay, so they're the paints we're going to need. So what we need to do now is we need to head over to the spray booth first, and we'll get cracking on with getting this thing primed, ready for painting. Alright, and as always when I'm using the spray booth, I'll cut the video and cut the audio and just play some music. Alright, so let's get cracking. And there we go, simple as that. And we're going to leave that to dry for a minute, and for the power of YouTube, I'll be back in a second. So here we go. I'm not going to be airbrushing the base coat on this guy. We're going to be using a brush with a base coat of Bugman's Glow. So grab a nice big brush here, nice and soft brush, nothing too crazy. We're not going to be using any detail here, we're just getting a nice all over coat, nice and thin, so work the brush all over the model. There we go. So we're going to give that a couple of minutes to dry and then move on to the next step. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do takes a little bit of practicing to get it right, and I'll explain it as I do it. We're going to use some Lamia Medium and Drybrush Violet together. Okay. Now, what I mean by to get it right is more along the lines of how much to use, because what we need to do is we need to guesstimate. We're going to cover the entire model in thinned down Drybrush Violet, but you don't want to be getting your Lamia Medium tainted with pigment. Lamia Medium is just basically it's a wash that doesn't have pigment in it, and we're going to put a couple of brushfuls of Lamia Medium in this little well palette that I have here, and then we're going to put that to one side. And because Lamia Medium is a medium, a wash medium, we don't need to wash this. We could just go straight into this Drybrush Violet. I forgot to give it a shake, and then we're going to grab a couple of brushfuls of Drybrush Violet. Yeah, something like that. There we go. And then we mix that up. Now what that is now, even though it looks the same, is the Drybrush Violet is now thinner than what it was straight from the pot, but it doesn't lose any of its qualities, its any properties as being a wash, because we thinned it down with medium. You could thin it down with water, only the more water you add, the less the Drybrush Violet will behave as it should do. You change the actual properties of the paint. But once we thin this down a little bit, we're literally just going to coat this entire model with Drybrush Violet. And there we go. And as always, when using a wash, you do make sure that you don't get any of the pooling effect. You need to keep an eye on it. But you can see that that's a very even coat. But because we thinned it down, it really does keep to those recesses rather than trying to sit on any of the other surfaces. But as always, we need to put this down and leave it to dry. And so the next step will be to dry brush with Elder Flesh. Alright, so we're going to come in with a kitchen towel, come in with a nice big dry brush, and ever so gently we'll just add a little bit of paint to the brush. We don't want a lot at all. We want to do this nice and slowly, so that we can gradually build up these flesh tones. We're going to do it nice and quickly. We could build up via layers, but quite frankly this will do just as good. But you can see here, just I've put barely any paint onto the model. We can always add more paint if it's not coming together. If there's not enough paint on there, we can always dry brush some more. But you see, we're just doing it very, very slowly, and we can always add more paint. And you know, we can't really take it off without stripping it, so we do want to go very, very slowly. You notice this brush has virtually got no paint on it at all. I can always add more paint to the brush as well. So nice and slowly, we're going to just build up this colour to where we want it to be. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out into this smaller brush, because we can see right underneath there we can't really get the bigger brush into the chest area under here, so I use the smaller brush to be able to get into here. Same principle, we're going to make sure we got not much paint on the brush, and just get under there and just dry brush this nice and slowly. Very happy with that that finish there. And so very quickly, to finish out this video, I'm going to put the that to one side, and I am going to grab the fang, and very, very quickly I am just going to pop some of this on my palette. What I'm going to do is on his bit of cloth that he's wearing down here, we're just going to base coat that in the fang. Very carefully, of course, not to touch any of the skin. Now, as you may have noticed, this is going to be a very simple, quick and easy paint scheme that is going to be what I would call a very standard tabletop standard model with enough details to be acceptable. This is a commission piece. I've got lots of these to one side, as well as some other Genestealer Cult stuff, so keep your eyes out for new videos in the future for a few more Genestealers. But what I will say is that these won't get based, so you won't see any basing done on these. But I do have some plans in the future to do some Genestealers myself, where you'll see me paint some Genestealers from start to finish with some basing as well. But for now, let's just get this fang painted down. And there we go. Let's clean the brush off. I think that that's a reasonable place to finish that right now. You can see we've got some of those skid toes down, we've got a bit of colour going on, and we'll leave it where it is. Alright. So there we go. A nice simple paint job going on. This guy is, like I said, it's not going to be particularly complicated. It's going to be nice, quick and simple tabletop standard that's, you know, it's got some colour to it, it's got some detail to it, but nothing to kind of get yourself worked up over. I mean, Genestealers, you get a lot of models on those kind of armies, and yeah, you could spend some time on, you know, the more, you know, the HQ units and things that are really important, and your patriarchs and all sorts of things like that. But for things like this, you know, I think, you know, you've got lots of Genestealer cultists and these aberrants. I've got a load of these to do. So, you know, nice and simple, nothing to stress over. So plenty of dry brushing going on these models. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want to help support the channel, don't forget the Patreon link is all down below. You can check out all of my social media. Please don't forget to subscribe. Press the bell button next to it if you want to just not miss any of my uploads. And you know, throw me a like or a comment below if you've enjoyed it or if you've got something to say. And yeah, that just leaves me to say thank you for watching this one. I'll catch you in the next one, alright? Ta-ra.